sometimes confined and circumscribed to our law understanding, right? We can't tell them the practical side, as well as we can't explain on concepts relating to sciences. And that's why the attempt through this platform is to involve you people who have the advantage of both the fields, science as well as LLB. Pragya is also engineer originally, and she did her LLB later on from IIT Kharagpur. So people like you can help us learn those aspects, at least to briefly make us understand. Obviously, we can't know the technicalities and the ticklish aspects, but we can at least briefly understand as to what is going on and what is happening in the sciences. I think we are good to go. Professor Unnat is joining us. Welcome, Professor Unnat. नमस्ते सर, गुड आफ्टरनून.
नमस्ते अश्विनी जी, कैसे हैं?
नमस्ते
नमस्ते. मे बी मेरा कैमरा थोड़ा अलग लगा हुआ है.
नो इट इज गुड सर, यू आर
यहाँ पर है और मैं यहाँ पर हूँ, तो लेट मी रिजॉल्व दिस इफ दैट.
It's better now, sir. It's better now. Welcome, sir. Welcome to all the dignitaries here. And we are commencing our event. We will not wait for the students to join. Actually, most of the students, they get over from their classes at 2 o'clock. So they will be joining us shortly. And many of the students have already joined. So thank you to everyone for joining us on a short notice and at 2 o'clock when your classes are just concluding. Thank you. Well, I extend my heartfelt welcome to all the dignitaries here, specifically to our chief guest, Professor Unnat P. Pandit, who is Controller General of Patent Designs and Trademarks, India. I also extend my welcome to Dr. Sheetal Chopra, Director Ipr Policy, Ericsson. And I also extend welcome to Pragya Arora, founder and IP attorney at PA Legal. I take this opportunity to welcome my colleagues, learned colleagues. I'm able to see some of them who are very enthusiastic colleagues, Isha, Swati Solanki, Archa Vashisht. They are also part of this clinic as team members in the committee. I extend warm welcome to all the students who have joined us today. At the very outset, in the absence of the professor in charge of Law Center 2, he had to go for one emergent meeting at the university, so he could not join us. I apologize on his behalf to the august audience that he cannot make it to this event. But he has given his very warm welcome to all of us. So I extend the welcome on behalf of the professor in charge of Law Center 2, Professor Mahavir Singh Kalon. Now the time is to apprise the august gathering, including our dignitaries, about the aims and objectives and the conceptualization of this clinic. Well, Entrepreneurial Law Clinic at Law Center 2, it aims to provide a pro bono platform to serve the dual purpose. And the first and the foremost purpose of the clinic is to give the practical experience to the students of dealing with the clients, specifically examining their and preparing their contractual documents, their trademark registration applications, and copyright registration. We lack in the expertise of patent filing, of course, because we are not patent agents. But some of our students are already patent agents who are masters and who have done their science graduations. So they have qualified their patent agent examinations. So with the help of them, we have been counseling the budding entrepreneurs. We have been counseling the startups and incubating them for almost 3-4 years now. It was only because of the COVID hiatus that we could not able to do effective work in last 1.5 years or so. So the next aim of the clinic is to provide free legal mentoring and advice to the entrepreneurs in the university and outside the university. We are contacted usually by the university teachers from the different departments of the university for copyright filing, for patent filing. Though we have a cluster innovation center, we have a DSIT, which is our Delhi School of Enhancement and Entrepreneurship, under the Institute of Eminence of University of Delhi. But ours is a separate or a third platform, similar to or in parametria to the other two platforms existing in DU. And here we try to extend some help, pro bono help to the people who contact us in the university or outside the university. We fetch the clientele, or you may say the beneficiaries of our services through outreach, which is done by the students here. We have a trained team of paralegal volunteers or the students, which we induct each year under the clinic, and they are trained, they are given basic training of advising or mentoring the startups, and they are also abreast with the basics of the IPR, specifically the trademark filing and copyright filing, etc. So this is what we do. In the end, the last and very important aspect or the dimension of the clinic is to take up some pilot studies for the government bodies working towards the strengthening of the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country. So these three aims are basically our pivotal aims under the aegis of this clinic, apart from definitely attaching our students with the learned people like Dr. Sheetal Chopra and Pragya Arora by inviting them physically or online. Right, so that is all about the clinic. Briefly about the activities of the clinic which we have been doing and which we aim to do in the ensuing time under your aegis, Professor Unnat P. Pandit. I now take this opportunity to welcome and give a brief introduction about our chief guest for today's event, Professor Unnat P. Pandit. Professor Pandit originally is a professor at Jawaharlal Nehru University, and Sir has recently joined as Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks. Sir's expertise is intellectual property rights management, entrepreneurship management, technology and IP evaluation, technology licensing and IP due diligence, startup mentoring and innovation funding. And Sir has formerly being the program director of Atal Innovation Mission in which is basically a policy initiative taken by the Niti Aayog, and Sir headed the Atal Innovation Mission at JNU. I have visited Sir's center and greeted him once when he became I had the opportunity, I had the luck and his kind welcome for meeting him there. He has also been the OSD with the former Commerce and Industry Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, at Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. He has also been the former member of IPR think tank constituted by the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Government of India, to draft National IPR Policy in 2016. Sir has also been head of IP at Cadila Pharmaceuticals Limited and Deputy Manager IP Management at Dr. Reddy's Lab. Sir has also taught as a lecturer at UB Bhagat Science Mahila College, Amreli, Gujarat. And there are so many things to tell about Sir's, to tell about Sir's achievements, but I have a paucity of time. So I now welcome Professor Unnat to share his views and motivate us and our students, and also guide us as to what all we can do in the present ecosystem to strengthen the entrepreneurial activities as a small entity. I mean, as a small part of this Bharat Varsh, law faculty teaches around 10,000 students. I told you, sir, when I met you physically in JNU, that we have 10,000 students who are studying law here. So we have a lot of potential to help the government and to help the, strengthening of the ecosystem on the entrepreneurial laws and IPR basically. So we need your erudition and guidance, sir. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ashwini ji, for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts. I can see Sheetal Chopra ji, Pragya Arora ji, who is practicing the IP, and it is again a very privilege to be with the Delhi University-based Law Center 2 Faculty of Law, and with the aspiring entrepreneur who are looking for the opportunity in through Entrepreneurial Law Clinic. This is something which is a need of current time, wherein in one way there are huge pendency which is there on the litigation front. And there are cases even in the intellectual property office also. I was, when I took a charge, I was surprised that there are so much of cases pending on just every party is filing a pre-grant opposition as soon as the case is going to get decided. This is something not fair. This is something where we need to optimize our processes, and my office is working on that, those priorities wherein our job is to respect the IP. I think the entrepreneurial clinic should teach all the students how to respect the IP. This is most essential thing for students to learn, respecting the IP before they build the career in IP. We need the excellent patent agents, trademark agents to practice and to put forward their cases in a most professional manner. Let's get rid of all the other means of dealing with the offices in government. How can we have a professional relationship? How can we maintain the decorum of both the respectable individuals? Why can't we have the intellectual talk, discussions? I think this is the clinic where we need to diagnose this problem and find the solution also. So I'm sure the IP Law Clinic under the Faculty of Law will find such a solution. We have the problems, but our mindset need to have an approach to address those problems with the best available resources surrounding to us. There are so many challenges. There are so many opportunities. Wherever challenges are there, I am firmly believing that there is an opportunity also. Like there is there are pendency. So how the digital intervention can help us addressing those pendencies? How the administrative delays we can optimize efficiently? What needs to be done for that? So daily I am discussing with the officers that how we can optimize the process. Internal process, once we optimize, there is a spare time which is available for the examiner, controller, registrar to evaluate more and more applications. This is something where, again, like the IP clinic, we need to have an IPO clinic also. So we are working on that, where we want to optimize all the processes at our end also. Charity begins with our home. So I am trying to correct all these things in my home as well. So without anybody telling me correct your home, I am correcting my home. That's what honest submission, and the professionals like Sital ji and all knows me. Ashwini ji, you also knows me. my approach is always a positive. My approach is towards addressing the problem once for all. I don't like the recurring problem in the same domain. So might be solution gets delayed, but yes, we'll find a proper diagnosis in my IPO clinic, and then we'll address them. So this is an honest submission as the CG holding the office. And I firmly believe that all the future lawyers who are going to practice in the IP, they should also feel a comfort. And I'm trying to give you the comfort that you are rest assured. Just apply your honest attempt to practice before the IPO. IPO will also going to support you. Now, when we are going to have a discussion on the IP clinic, I would like to diagnose certain problems wherein the in-depth research is required. Like, there are certain challenges which I have recently mentioned just few minutes before that, the pre-grant opposition. So why can't we have an informed research on this? This is the time wherein you are into the academic institutions, you are in the safe hand of your faculties, and try to work on the practical problems. Have your projects on the applied challenges which is there. The process of a design registration, process of a trademark registration, how you can optimize the pendency, why there is so much of a rejection, what needs to be make people aware that these are the recurring problems which are happening, how we can fix those problems, where the technology intervention is required. Informed research on all such operational things in the legal administration are going to help the offices. When I click, I'm being a researcher, I generally go by the informed data. I try to get the data from the public domain. How many research are happening on the IP challenges? I can find very few publications, and those publications are also compromised on the quality. Here, I think we need to work on utilizing the information available before us and use them effectively in producing the quality research. IP Clinic is giving you this opportunity. Once you pass out from the university, you will not get the opportunity to deal with this matter. And one benefit which you are going to avail out of this is you are technically strengthening your analytical skill. Interpretation of various legal documents. This is something where you can sharpen your skill, you can improve upon your performance to deal with the legal matters. This is how I think you can learn a lot, and you are very much into the safe hands. Time for thinking out of box. New technology domains are coming. How you are going to draft the patent specification for AI related inventions? What should be the enablement criteria? Blockchain technology related stuff. How your invention dealing with the computer related inventions and get the protection as per the CRI guidelines. Even in CRI guidelines, if amendment is required, what is the informed research before you? How the applications are getting evaluated on a various countries, platforms, what is their criteria? What should be the best criteria under Indian scenario? I'm giving you so many problem statements for all of you to work, design your project work in IP Clinic. Even the payment gateways. So how this can be optimized? how we can have a seamless experience of IPO platforms. What is there in the overseas IP offices? What kind of amendment is required? These are the short-term projects. But yes, 1 month, 2 months, you can spend during your summer break. And COVID has taught us an excellent opportunity to utilize the IT resources available in our house. Try to analyze them, compile the data, and prepare a report. Publish those reports. I'm welcoming all such kind of a quality research, which is referred to the CGPDTM office. I will definitely review them. I can assure you, and give your recommendation also, not just to IP offices. Why can't you practice similar thing with the National Biodiversity Authority or environment law or various other law? Even on the child protection, you can reach out with your positive recommendation to NCPCR. So there is a huge opportunity. Government has drawn more than around 1200 acts. I might be wrong. I'm not accurate in claiming the number, but there is an uninformed research which is required on that. Certain age-old acts which needs the amendment. What all amendment will be required? You need the informed research, and there is an excellent opportunity under the IP clinic to deal with this kind of a research work. Every parliament session brings various bills for amendment. How many of you have read one particular bill which is tabled on the parliament? Which bill you are evaluating? And what is the real-time scenario? Certain provisions which are brought in the amendment. What is going to be the impact on the various people who are practicing this particular act? Beneficiaries who are covered under the particular protection. I think these are the points wherein real-time research can bring a lot more strength to this IP clinic, and definitely they will increase the intellectual bar of the Faculty of Law, IP clinic, and the Law Center 2 as well. There is a lot many expectations from all of you, and you have a rich alumni network also. So utilize your blessings which is already available with you. How many of you are approaching your alumni? Take the help of your faculty, reach out to them, get the guidance. This is the era, 21st century is an era of a network. And those who are active, live, vibrant in the ecosystem will survive. If you are not live and vibrant and hand-holding each other, then it would be a difficult time. I am quite promising that Law Center 2 offering you an excellent opportunity through IP clinic, and you must utilize the opportunities available with you. With these words, I would like to take a pause. I know I have taken more than the allocated time, but I thought that few of these points are important for the students. And I want to see the change in the perception towards the IP clinic. I'm sure few of my thoughts will give you a direction to deal with these practical problems and bring out some quality research which can benefit to the IP offices, various other offices, and the society as well. Thank you, Ashwini ji, for giving me the opportunity to interact with the students. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your thought-provoking address. We really stand benefited. I mean, all of us, even those who are professionals and those who are budding lawyers, we really stand benefited of your address. I have few things which you mentioned, but I would reiterate, and I seek the cooperation of my learned colleagues here, specifically those who are the member of this clinic, to take up some pilot studies and research, as rightly mentioned and reiterated by Professor Unnat P. Pandit. We would definitely try our best to come out with some of the findings and recommendations on the specific topics which you highlighted here, sir, in the due course or in the ensuing time. And we will look forward for your comments and your review as you have promised. Thank you so very much for motivational, address, sir. We are really blessed to have you as our CG and to have you as our chief guest today for this event, for the orientation program. We will soon be inducting some students here in this clinic, and we will involve them in the process of creating the research and in creating or taking up the projects from the ministries and from the government of India. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
I am taking a liberty for 30 seconds.
Sure, sir,
I am typing my email address also. Submit your research findings.
Sure, sir. Sure.
On this ID. ठीक है ना? So I have typed the email ID in the chat box. You can review this. Any interesting research findings, if you have, please do share with me on this ID. Okay.
Right.
cgoffice-ms@nic.in. And somebody, I think Himanshu Atri, has raised the hand, so you may take up.
I have requested him to write his question in the chat box.
Yeah. Himanshu, it would be good if you can write the question in the chat box. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, sir. It is so nice to have you here with us. Thank you, sir. I request you, since it is an online platform, we can't ask you to physically do it, but I plan to unveil the logo of the clinic today, and it is going to be unveiled in your presence. So you are unveiling along with the other dignitaries. I am just going to share my screen, and we will be unveiling the logo of the clinic. I hope it is visible to all of you. It is the logo which our student has prepared it. One of our very bright student, Nikhil, from first year. So our idea is to bridge the gap between theory and practice under the aegis of the Entrepreneurial Law Clinic of Law Center 2, Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. So it has been unveiled in the presence of, on record, in the presence of Controller General of Patents and other two dignitaries. Thank you very much.
I would
sir.
like to mention here that protect this logo also. So file an application, give the opportunity to one of your students to file the application, learn how to file and defend the submission. And I like the caption also. Protect the caption as well.
Thank you, sir.
Practice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for blessing us with your presence, sir.
Next time when I meet you, I want to see R circle on the top of it. Okay.
Okay, we will try to do it, sir. We will try to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. The speaker for today is Dr. Sheetal Chopra. Dr. Chopra is an industry professional with 2 decades of experience in public policy and government affairs. She is currently serving as Director Ipr Policy, Ericsson India. She's a registered patent agent and an author of a book on patent agent examination published by Notion Press. I think that there are a handful of books on patent agent examinations which are available in the market. And one of the flagship book on this subject is of Dr. Sheetal Chopra. I vouch for it because I have read this particular book. Dr. Chopra is a resource person also at Kapila, which is Ministry of Education, Government of India, and Mentor for Change, Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, Government of India. She is also an adjunct professor at OP Jindal Global University, and she teaches one credit course on Indian startup ecosystem there. Dr. Chopra is visiting faculty and trainer at various educational institutions, government bodies, including All India Radio. She has been recently awarded with prestigious award by World IP Forum on Power Women in IP, that is WIPF. She has also been nominated for inclusion in 30th Pearl Anniversary edition of Who's Who in the World Book of America, which includes a biography of people indicating their real accomplishment. She has also been selected as 2000 Outstanding Intellectuals of 21st Century 2013 by International Biographical Center, England. She has also been selected and invited by International Biographic Center to receive the honorary degree of letters. Besides being an industry professional and a patent agent, she also wears an academic hat, which she was mentioning in the beginning when many of you must have not joined. She is course coordinator for IPTSC, which is an intellectual property talent search examination, one of its kind IP Olympiad. She has been instrumental in developing and customizing e-book for students of IP Olympiad that is suitable across disciplines. And this is one of the kinds of an initiative, IPTSC, where they train and confer some, not the degree, but some sort of certification to the people who subscribe to their courses under IPTSC. Welcome, Dr. Sheetal, and we are looking forward to your address. We have a timeline of 10 to 15 minutes. You may please go ahead. Over to you, Dr. Sheetal.
Sure. Thank you, Professor Ashwini. Am I visible and audible both?
Yes, you are visible and audible both.
Okay. Thank you so much. And it's an honor for me rather to be here. And it was a great pleasure to have heard CG. I mean, everything he said was a gold, right? And I never had any yawn or a blink of eye or any of that moment. It was so lively and it was so thrilling because I can understand a person with a corporate experience and that passion of teaching. It comes from the gut. It comes from the belly. So it was great to hear him. A very good afternoon to all of you, to Professor Unnat Pandit, CG, Professor Mahavir. I know he could not join, but my greetings to him. Dr. Ashwini, to you, a very good afternoon. Pragya, good to see you. And Swati and Archana ji, good to see you as well. You being colleagues of Professor Ashwini, I'm happy to see our community is growing. I would really like to congratulate all the students who've been able to participate. I mean, it won't be a rhetoric if I say that you are the ones who got that entrepreneurial fire. When I was a student, I hope, Professor Ashwini, I can also use Hindi in between, right? है ना?
You can, you should in fact.
लोकल बोलते हैं ना तो मन लगता है.
हमारे बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो हिंदी भाषी हैं और बहुत कंफर्टेबल हैं हिंदी में. हम तो चाहते हैं कि उनको हिंदी में मोटिवेट करें.
Exactly. तो मैं हाँ नहीं बिल्कुल ठीक है. And I generally use the opportunity कि जब भी मौका मिले हिंदी में बात करें, because otherwise तो ये opportunity मिलता ही नहीं है. तो जब मैं स्टूडेंट थी, प्रोफेसर अश्विनी ऑफ दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी, many years ago, ये जो opportunity है which you are giving to your students wasn't available, and I can assure you if we were given this opportunity, अगर हमारे पास ये बच्चों अगर opportunity होती, we would have created many startups, unicorns, a lot of patents. So I think you guys are a lot blessed. I don't know, Pragya, about you look very young, but whether such opportunities were available to you or not, but yes, Delhi University having brought this opportunity is a rare occasion. So use it, exhaust it comprehensively to the best of your upliftment and skill development. I think your journey towards entrepreneurial spirit is not your journey only. It's also Government of India's journey. जैसे कि प्रोफेसर उन्नत पंडित बता रहे हैं कि ये रिसर्च चाहिए उनको, या उनको एक systematic research चाहिए to grow IP portfolio in the country from the domestic level also. I think you are not alone anymore. You have CG with you, you have Indian government with you, you've got lawyers such as Pragya with you, you've got your professors, you've got us as industry people. So mind you, you are not alone. Like Professor said, like Dr. Unnat said, call us up, write us an email, and seek your any sort of help you may have. I think when we talk about Government of India and their role in creating this entrepreneurial skill set, I'm sure you are aware of National Ipr Policy, which was released in 2016. There is a slogan which says Innovative India, Creative India, and it is quite apparent that IP policy is not just to grow the numbers of IP filings. It is to grow the entrepreneurs. It is to grow the innovators such as you. So, आपको National IPR policy is also with you, and you have any issues, you can always come forward. There is another initiative called Startup India Initiative. And why am I counting these different laws and initiatives? Because once you're out from Delhi University after having done your graduation, post-graduation, you should be already aware of these so that you can use it to the best of your advantage by the time you open up your own startup or you be part of corporates such as Ericsson or anywhere else or pharma, wherever you feel comfortable, right? So you should know all of these laws, all of these opportunities available with you. So there is a Startup India initiative, and I'm sure CG would know better than any of us, but there are recently patent rules that got changed, which gives you an expedited examination of your IP if you belong to a startup community. And if you're a woman scientist and filing for a patent, there is an equal opportunity in terms of reduced fee structure and also expedited grants. So all these things are available to you. And now we all know that entrepreneurship means developing something which is new, right? Which is not obvious to other person ordinarily skilled in the art. I mean, we all as consumer are really looking forward to you to come up with some solution to an existing problem. And since it's an evolution, since you want to remain in the market, you want to compete with other competitors, it is important that you safeguard your IP, like CG said. Today, if you say it's a blessing for us, we've got 50% domestic filings. But how many are from startups? We don't have yet research on that. अगर आप इंडियन पेटेंट ऑफिस की वेबसाइट पे अगर आप जाओ और अगर आप एनुअल रिपोर्ट खोलो और आप देखो कि कितनी डोमेस्टिक फाइलिंग्स है और कितनी फॉरेन फाइलिंग्स है, यू विल सी 50% above from India. But how many from Indian startup ecosystem? How many from SMEs? How many from women entrepreneurs? I think that sort of data, if any of you as students from the law center could come up with, would be a great benefit for the industry at large also, and for the government to come up with the better schemes so that it can support more filings in IP. I think I'm here, and Professor Ashwini said if I can just mention you some of the important laws which you should be aware of. We'll just skim through it. हम लोग deep में नहीं जाएंगे because time 10 मिनट से कम है. तो हम सिर्फ नाम लेंगे उन laws का, which and very small brief about it, and then you just note it down in your copies and diaries, whatever, the students, and start reading about those laws. Because we expect that once you be part of this entrepreneurship law center, you'll come up with your own startup. So startup बोलने से startup नहीं खुलता है. You have to follow a very strong, stringent process. So there are few laws, for example, Competition Law and Indian Contract Act. These are two very, very important laws because it keeps a kind of check on any of the market entry barriers. And you can reach out to Pragya if there are any law related issues, because she's a lawyer and she can give you a better update. And I from industry can tell you how these laws are implemented on ground. But these competition and Indian contract law are very important. It is about the dominant position and it is about the abuse that sometimes inadvertently startups end up doing. When I was teaching at OP Jindal, there were at least 50 case studies we discussed where startups had to close down their business just because they were embroiled under the competition law or Indian Contract Act. They ended up signing some contracts which were abusive in nature. It talked about coercive package license. It talked about certain other exclusive grant back, which should not have been part of contracts right from the day one. So being innovative, being creative, being entrepreneurial doesn't mean that you just need to know about your product, about your innovation. You need to know about the laws if you want to sustain in the market. बहुत सारे ऐसे startups हैं जो बेचारे अच्छा काम कर रहे थे, but they lost onto the market just because they could not comply appropriately. आपके पास जब टाइम होगा, जब प्रोफेसर अश्विनी दोबारा वेबिनार करेंगे, I'll be happy to talk about those startups which actually failed the test of these laws. Okay, तो ये आपको ध्यान में रखना है. अदर इज अबाउट द इंडियन आईपी लॉज, जैसे कि आपको सीजी ने बताया, पेटेंट लॉ है, आपका ट्रेडमार्क एक्ट है, कॉपीराइट एक्ट, डिजाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन, इन्वेंटर रेम्यूनरेशन लॉज. अब जो इन्वेंटर रेम्यूनरेशन लॉ है, वी डोंट हैव इट इन आवर कंट्री येट, but this inventor remuneration law is in other countries, right? There are around 13 to 14 countries that at least I am aware of where सपोज आप कुछ इनोवेट करते हो. अब ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आप अपना स्टार्टअप डे 1 पे लेके आ जाओगे. यू माइट विश टू जॉइन सम कॉर्पोरेट फर्स्ट, यू माइट विश टू जॉइन सम अदर कॉर्पोरेट बॉडी और एनी अदर इंस्टीट्यूशन to grow your psyche of entrepreneurship, learn a lot of things and then open up something. So you need to be aware of what are the laws that can help remuneration for your own work. जैसे कि let me give you some example. जैसे entrepreneur आप बनते हैं, आप हमेशा you would need funding. You might want to go to a bank for a loan. Now it's not important anymore कि आपको gold या silver या घर के पेपर रखोगे तो ही आपको लोन मिलेगा. You can use your intellectual property to get a collateral. Now, how do you get a collateral? How do you value your IP? How do you audit your IP so that a banker is ready to give you a loan? All that you need to be aware of. And there are laws which are the banking laws that are governing intellectual property and its collateralization that you must definitely be aware of. Kingfisher का आपके पास example है जिसमें इंडिया में first example था that took trademark as a collateral and loan, right? तो ऐसे बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स हैं बहुत सारे कंट्रीज में. अच्छा, अनदर थिंग दैट आई वांटेड टू टेल यू कि जब आप कॉर्पोरेट ज्वाइन करते हो, देयर आर यू नॉट ओनली कॉर्पोरेट बट एनी एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशन, लेट्स से as a faculty, as an entrepreneur in the incubation cell, whatever, you need to be aware of the in-house IP policies. जैसे कि एरिक्सन का IP policy क्या कहता है कि if you are using Ericsson resources during the time of your working hours and that something that you innovate is in line of your work, then everything you have to assign to the institution, meaning Ericsson. तो आप वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन करते हो, आपको उसके बारे में मालूम होना चाहिए कि you don't end up signing the contract or assigning your rights for the innovation that actually are not part of your line of work that you may have done at your home, not using companies resources. लेकिन लोगों को इसके बारे में मालूम नहीं होता है and they don't know, they are clueless about what to do. So when you become part of any institution as an entrepreneur, read the documents that you are signing. ऐसे आँख बंद के साइन नहीं करना है आपको. You should know what you are signing when it comes to innovation and intellectual property. So in-house IP policies, Indian IP laws, जिसमें मैंने आपको कुछ नाम बताए, Indian Contract Act, Competition Law, all these you should be aware of. अच्छा, एक और बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है स्टार्टअप रजिस्ट्रेशन. आज अगर आप इंडियन स्टार्टअप हब की वेबसाइट देखोगे, यू विल फाइंड 75,000 रजिस्टर्ड इंडियन स्टार्टअप्स. और अगर आप 3 दिन पहले का न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ोगे तो आपको ये मालूम चलेगा कि बहुत सारे इंडियन स्टार्टअप्स आर नाउ लेइंग ऑफ देयर एम्प्लॉइज. And it's not only most of the times the funding as an issue, but also they are not able to monetize on their IP. They've not been able to either protect their IP, not been able to license their IP to somebody which they could not themselves manufacture. So startup registration का जो process है, you must learn it by heart. And I'm telling you by heart because once you get a startup registered, you get a lot of facilities in the form of tax rebates, in the form of mentorship that you get from government of India. There are a lot of patent facilitators free of cost which becomes available to you. They won't charge you even a single penny if you have a startup registration done. अच्छा, अगर जैसे प्रोफेसर पंडित ने आपको बताया कि आप ट्रेडमार्क रजिस्टर कराओ, I think by far now you should know कि if you have a startup registration, the fee gets reduced by almost 50%. जो अगर आप 9,500 अगर आप पे करोगे, including lawyer fee or whatever, and if you have a startup registration, it can come down to 4,000 rupees. So these are the things, nuances you get to know only when you get registered as an Indian startup. And for registering as an Indian startup, you need to show your business potential. कि आपकी sustainability कैसा है. कि आप अगले 10 साल में आप अपनी कंपनी को कहाँ लेके जाओगे, तो ये बड़ा फार साइटेड है, मतलब बड़ा कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव क्वेश्चन होता है जो आपको एड्रेस करना पड़ता है टू गेट दैट रजिस्ट्रेशन from Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So that startup registration, whether you want to open up an LLP or a PLC, which is private limited company, all that you need to be aware of, and hence the company's law also becomes an important instrument for you to learn about. ठीक है, तो सिर्फ IP लॉ नहीं जानना है आपको. It's an amalgamation of IT law, it's an amalgamation of competition law, Indian Constitution also. Why? Because suppose करो आपसे कोई राइट छीन गया है, अब गवर्नमेंट बोल रही है या कोई बोल रहा है कि नहीं, you cannot venture into this particular area. You can always seek a challenge under Indian Constitution about your freedom to operate, your freedom to pick up any trade. So it's being entrepreneur is not only IP, it's not only innovation, it's an amalgamation of many laws. इसीलिए अगर आप साइंस है आपके पास तो बहुत अच्छा है, उस पर लॉ का डिग्री है, LLM है तो और भी अच्छा है, PhD है तो बहुत ही बढ़िया है इन डिफरेंट डोमेन्स. ठीक है, तो ट्राई वेंचर आउट. जैसे ऑक्टोपस की 8 टांगे होती है ना, तो हर जगह वेंचर करो, शाय ऑफ मत करो. इंटर्नशिप्स लो, जितनी जगह आप इंटर्नशिप्स कर सकते हो. आई एम हैप्पी टू गिव इंटर्नशिप एट एरिक्सन आल्सो इफ यू विश. प्रोफेसर अश्विनी कैन फैसिलिटेट दैट. थोड़ा सा एक और पॉइंट है अश्विनी जी, एंड देन आई थिंक आई एम डन बिकॉज आई जस्ट वांटेड टू गिव देम द टॉप ऑफ द कवर. Is about the judicial pronouncements. कि बहुत सारे ऐसे startups हैं who've been embroiled in litigation in other parts of the globe, may not be in India yet, लेकिन उनसे जानो आप, ठीक है, कि क्या हुआ कि they had to go to the court. Did somebody infringe their IP or did they end up infringing somebody's IP? So judicial, executive, corporate, academic, and then the knowledge of law. ये बहुत सारा है, बोलने में बहुत सारा लगता है, लेकिन जब आप experience gain करोगे ना, and when you get connected with a lot of people around you, then automatically through experience you'll know a lot of these things. I think Professor Ashwini, I'll end up here. There were a lot of things I wanted to say, but I know the time is not much. So look forward to the next webinar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sheetal, for such an illuminating and all-encompassing talk or address. You have covered almost all the things which I believe are required to be covered for this preliminary orientation program. We can definitely give them the in-depth, understanding or in-depth knowledge about different subjects and their particular specific provisions later on, and we have a plan to do that. In fact, Dr. Sheetal Chopra herself had a plan to organize one more event in the probably in the next month on NFT and IPR, non-fungible tokens and IPR. So we are going to announce it very soon. And I would like to quickly, recapitulate one important point which Dr. Sheetal highlighted. It's about, learning all the ancillary laws which are required to be, learned for becoming a entrepreneurial lawyer. In fact, in our in the objective of our clinic, we have highlighted and mentioned that IT, IP, antitrust, and all these laws are required to be learned. And our aim is to create awareness about all these laws and to impart procedural and practical teaching to our students on all these laws, not only to IP law. So thank you so very much, Dr. Sheetal. I am glad that you found time. She's very busy. She's Director IPR Ericsson. One can easily imagine that how busy she is. But thank you so much, Sheetal, for coming on such a short notice. Now I request the young lawyer and IP attorney, Pragya Arora. Pragya basically is a founder of PA Legal, and she is an IP attorney. She is or has been a strategic and responsive lawyer after creating PA Legal in creating domestic and foreign clientele from multidisciplinary industries at a well-reputed law firm. She is experienced in providing end-to-end services in the domain of IP and in the domain of other related fields also, right from conceptualization and strategy building to grant, defense, enforcement, and commercialization of IP and other things. Pragya holds Bachelor of Technology in Electric Engineering and LLB honors in IPR from IIT Kharagpur Law School. With her strong educational background in law and technology, she has expertise in handling intellectual property matters related to the field of software, electrical, mechanical, electronics, telecommunications, and robotics. Pragya, you are most welcome here, and it is your first appearance in University of Delhi. So we join our hands to welcome you and extend you a warm welcome. Sheetal has been a part of this place, so definitely her appearance is recurring appearance in the university's program. But for Pragya, we definitely join our hands to welcome her, perhaps the debutant address in BU. Welcome, Pragya. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ashwini sir. Thank you, Dr. Sheetal. Thank you, Swati. Dr. Sheetal explained it very well, all the startup benefits, why registering a startup is important, how to take it forward after registration and how to claim benefits. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I being me, so I call myself a legal entrepreneur because I have this experience mix between entrepreneurship, law, and technology. So always this amalgamation goes by me. So apart, because it is an entrepreneurial clinic, so I will also shift the aspects towards legal entrepreneurship a bit. So let's start with IP and then move towards the legal entrepreneurship. So whenever we begin with IP, people come up with inventions. People are confused between the term innovation and invention, and they are not able to comprehend what is innovation, what is invention. So I read this very interesting definition, and it is from Stanford. It is not mine, but this definition exactly clarifies the difference between innovation and invention. So innovation is invention into commercialization. Unless a thing gets commercialized, it cannot be innovation. Whenever something should have a reach to be at your home or to be used in your office, to be of that scalability. If you're not producing that kind of business or you're inventing something which is of no use, probably it is for no use to the public as well. So if you want to penetrate in the market, you want to disrupt the market, there has to be some innovation, and it is always a mix of invention into commercialization. So many inventors, many companies, they focus on inventions. Inventions means we'll file IP for it, specifically patents. But people miss the commercialization aspect sometimes, which is extremely important. For example, there could be companies whose innovation level is not very great, but they are commercializing the products to a greater extent, maybe through their marketability or maybe by showing their product is extraordinary. For example, something which Apple does. Apple focuses on commercialization aspect much more than innovation aspect. They'll make small changes in their products, but commercialization wise, they'll penetrate each and every market so that they can occupy elite class, and that is the class from where money generation could come. So being an entrepreneur, we should always focus on invention and commercialization both. So first point was this, and then coming to IP. So being an IP lawyer, what all you can do? You can work in law firms, you can work in corporates, you can have your own law firms, you can work with educational institutes. For example, there are always technology transfer offices which bridge the gap between law firms and the educational institute. So you can work there. You can also work with government. You can be an examiner, you can be a controller, you can be a trademark examiner, you can be a patent examiner. For patent examiner, you'll require an engineering degree, but for trademark examiner, you'll require a law degree. And there are several other government jobs which are available in IP and which are not much populated. So you should keep your eyes open and probably look at that aspect as well. So Now coming to growing fields where we can actually penetrate in entrepreneurship. So because this is an entrepreneurship cell, I would encourage everybody to start their own ventures, maybe a law firm, maybe a YouTube channel, maybe any small thing, any small idea that comes up in your mind. At least try and fail, that is okay, but don't fail without trying. Try, and I know one day you will succeed. You'll try with maybe 5-10 different ideas, and one idea will succeed. So coming to where we can focus, so we can focus on, firstly we should focus on growing technologies. Amalgamation of growing technologies with law is an upcoming field, and there, as Dr. Sheetal said, there can be unicorns in this area. For example, we have blockchain and smart contracts. Who all can understand smart contracts than lawyers? And if you have an engineering degree and a law degree, smart contracts is another upcoming area. Then we have IT. We have software as a service. For example, management softwares, docketing softwares, any software as a service. That is one area where we can focus on. Then of course we have artificial intelligence, with which it is endless. There are so many use cases: judgment writing, finding out case laws. There are so many things that you can experiment with AI. So, and all these things I'm telling you, it's not that you'll sit and design a AI software for something. You'll develop a startup works with team. So you don't have to have expertise in that field. You should know the use cases and how a certain things can be developed. So first was this growing technology. Then we have growing legal field. As we say, research area is captivating. We can do research in many areas. Many new laws are coming up recently. In Europe, new draft guidelines have come for blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So that is something really new, because whole world is unable to deal with it. What is the future of crypto? So we should focus on new aspects of law as well. For example, data privacy. Data privacy started, and now we have bills and laws coming up. But that is one field which is, I think it would not stop, because we are living more in the digital world than in the real world. I think most of 90% of the wake time, our phones are with us. Approximately 70% of our wake time we are in front of our computer screen. So we live in the digital world. So laws such as data privacy, IT law, they are important. Then this is an interesting field, and which all of you can do and you do not require any investment for that, which I say there is a need for normal people to learn law. There is a need to spread awareness. There is a need to spread knowledge. There is a need to spread awareness for the rights of the people. And normal people, they run away from legal jargons. So don't write when you're writing blog article, you're making your videos, don't make it from the perspective of that you are teaching lawyers. Lawyers will come, read your article, they'll clap and they'll go. But real people, they'll connect with your article, they'll connect with that law, and they'll come to you. They'll come back to you and ask you questions, because that is your target audience. You want to explore the market, you want to interact with people, you want to be there. So and I promise you, this thing will not only generate money, it will give you happiness as well. When some client will come and they'll say that I read your blog and it helped me, I watched your video and it helped me. So we are living in this information age. So we have opportunities like legal content creators, becoming influencers, becoming even solopreneurs. If you do not want to enter into team building and things like that, you can be a solopreneur. You need is your smartphone to do that, and some acumen to turn complex law into simplified law. So that is another thing. And my favorite subject, which I say So I started my law firm 2 years back, and I read a book, and the book started with the term "law is business." I was like, "Oh my god, law is not business. Law is a noble profession. We never call law business, but law is business. Managing a law firm is managing a business. Managing any legal technology startup is managing a business. So law is business. So if you are starting your legal venture, you have to see you have to inculcate systems, you have to inculcate structures, you have to inculcate people management, team building, finance, so that the limit is endless. So apart from law, enter into these fields as well, learn how to manage people. And only if you want to make your own startups and make your own legal businesses, learn how to manage teams, learn how to manage finances, learn how to prepare systems, how to prepare structures, how to manage time. So these are all life skills. We call them life skills, but these are business skills. If you do not know that, I think operation of business is very, very difficult. So yeah, law is business, and let's take legal ventures as business. So at the end, I would like to say I also host a podcast for legal entrepreneurship, and if anybody of you is interested in the subject, you can just follow and see what legal entrepreneurs are doing and what is their mindset. So we generally speak about mindset, that what is their mindset and how do they develop a legal business, because that this is some nasty field where we cannot do advertisements. We cannot just go and ask people that do you want a divorce. We can't do that. So we cannot do advertisements. So this is a separate field. So we need to think how to get clients, because we need to survive. We need to help people. How to help people? If we cannot go and ask for business, how can we help people? So I think these are some aspects that need to be taken care of from the perspective of legal entrepreneurship.
Excellent, Pragya. Thank you very much. Thank you. I definitely, we all enjoyed it. I mean, I am really enthralled to have heard you. We have got one question from a student in the chat box. If you would, any of you, would like to reflect on it. And I request you to kindly post the link of your podcast here, so that our students can refer and they can see the podcast or hear the podcast.
Yes, sure.
You may just leave the link in the chat box. Okay, wonderful. So students may take note of it, and other interested people. This is a podcast of Pragya on entrepreneurial legal. What did you mention?
Legal entrepreneurship.
Legal entrepreneurship. Thank you very much. And would you like to take up this question?
With the advent of Web 3.0. So I'm not absolutely clear with the question, but I know in which direction this is going. So yes, with Web 3.0 and Web 3.0, where we speak about metaverses and people creating their avatars in metaverse, and decentralized autonomous organizations, where we say, our organizations are not in one place. Even the organizations are not in one place, even their operating structure is not in one place. For example, if you have a big organization, the servers are placed in many countries. So how do we take it? Because our IP laws are territorial in nature. How do we take care of that that circumstances? So these are all nuances, and I think the technology shifts, the law shifts. The technology shifts, the law shifts. So it is a cycle, and it is an ongoing cycle. We cannot blame that our laws are older. Our laws are also developing, and technology might be developing at a faster extent. So I think both of them going hand in hand, side by side, it will take a little time. India is not that old country. We are still new country, and we are trying to develop.
Okay, thank you very much. There has come another question, though we did not have any Q&A session But since some enthusiastic students are posing some questions and some queries, we may quickly take up. There has come one more from Joy Mondal. It's visible to both the speakers. Any one of you may.
Dr. Sheetal, would you like to take that?
You can take it up, Pragya, but the only point that I wanted to say that Joy is absolutely right. There is a lot of legal online freelancing now happening. And companies enjoy paying these freelancers rather than hosting somebody as an employee forever. Because as a freelancer, you are free to work with so many other companies and there is no liability on the corporate to keep paying an employee forever. So also like Professor Ashwini, I was mentioning about IPTSC and you referred to the IP Olympiad. You can go and look at the website. Even they look forward to legal online freelancers who can write blogs, who can write, come up with content writing. Yeah, by all means. Pragya, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sheetal. So, absolutely right. As you mentioned that there are a lot of opportunities, but yeah, as the questions are growing globally, so I would just mention one concern I have with this. See, there are certain limits. You cannot do certain legal. For example, a client comes to us. For example, I am a legal freelancer, and someone from US comes to me for filing a US trademark application. I do not have right to do that. I am not registered in US. I cannot do that. So if or someone can come up and ask me to send a legal notice to a company in US, we need a registered US lawyer for that. So whenever you are considering doing global freelancing, know your limits. Don't take any work that is coming up to you. Research what is the problem statement. Do you have authority to do that? Because I am well versed with the space, I know that there are people who are not eligible to do certain kind of work. They take up the work, then they get bad reviews from the clients, or they do not get work any further. So it's better to clarify at the first stage only that what kind of work is required, what is my limit. I can give you the written documents, but you will have to ask a US attorney to submit it. So whenever you are targeting to do work globally, do it with your eyes and ears open. Don't take anything that comes up to you.
Thank you very much to Pragya for taking up both the questions and answering the questions satisfactorily for the students. I now would like to invite my learned, dynamic and young colleague, Dr. Swati Solanki, Miss Swati Solanki.
Swati Solanki, there is a correction here. Yeah.
And I would also like to recognize the presence of one of our learned colleagues, Dr. Parikshit Sirohi, who is another IPR expert and cyber law expert and antitrust expert. He teaches constitutional law too. So I am blessed to have a company of all my learned colleagues here. Thank you for motivating me, Parikshit, by making your presence or ensuring your presence here. I now request Ms. Swati Solanki to kindly extend the vote of thanks. We have, limited time. As I said that we will meet again. Dr. Sheetal had already said that she is going to organize two events. In fact, I'm sorry, I would like to correct myself. She's going to collaborate with us for two events, one on NFT and another is on SCP and FRAN in the next month. So over to you, Swati.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Good afternoon, everyone. Though Professor Unnat P. Pandit has left the meeting, but I must place a formal thanks. His thoughts and wisdom have set the trajectory for our students to follow and inculcate the habit of learning the values of looking for a solution-oriented regime in our e-clinic. I also thank our distinguished speakers on the board, Dr. Sheetal Chopra, for orienting our students with the nuances in the IP ecosystem and motivating our students with the real-life examples. I also thank Ms. Pragya Arora for throwing light on the plausible future prospects in the IP regime and the importance of learning the management skills. We look forward to have your support in the future in our journey. Though our PIC sir is not present here, but nothing is possible without his support and encouragement. So I am grateful to our PIC also. Now, credit is also due for the convener of our clinic. It is his idea. He conceived this vision for us, and we believe that we will work towards this clinic under his able guidance. Last and not the least, I thank all the participants for making time for this orientation program, because I do understand it gets a lot right after, having finished your classes. So thank you everyone for joining in, and have a good evening. Thank you.
All. Thank you all. Thank you for
Thank you
joining.
so much.
Thank you. We'll stay connected. Thank
Yes.
you.
Definitely. Thank you.